It's not every day you see a janitor standing outside a towering luxury high-rise, the kind of building where dreams are made, at least the kind that leave folks like Marcus Thompson feeling small. It's ironic, really, how life can hold you down so tightly while you're just trying to lift up the ones you love. There he was in that worn-out uniform, thinking back to a time when his biggest fear was losing his diabetic mum, to the hardships that seemed to crush everything in their way. You see, Marcus wasn't always destined to shine. He grew up hearing whispers, some kind, some cruel, about how a kid from the projects could never really amount to much. Stress and struggle. He knew those like old friends. Nights spent cleaning luxury offices while juggling school and caring for his mum. Those memories shaped him, but through every setback deep down, he believed he had something special to offer, and he was determined to prove it. And then came the Westbrooks, an elite family with their own heart-wrenching story. Diana Westbrook, a powerful CEO, desperate to help her troubled daughter Sophia, who seemed to drive away anyone who tried to connect with her. It wasn't long before Marcus found himself at the crossroads of his life, caught in a whirlwind of prejudice and disbelief, daring to confront a world that had all but ignored him. Little did anyone know, this janitor had a path waiting for him. One that would take him from the shadows to the spotlight, sparking a fire of change that couldn't be extinguished. It was a Monday morning, the kind that usually signs off the weekend with a sigh and a cup of lukewarm coffee. I was on my knees, scrubbing away at a restroom stall that sparkled all too brightly against my worn uniform. I caught sight of Diana Westbrook through the glass partition as she rushed by, flanked by her glimmering entourage. I felt a tremor of excitement. Her daughter was the reason I was there. The chance to help little Sophia, a glimmer of hope in a bleak landscape. It was an opportunity, perhaps the only break I might ever get, to step out from behind the mop. But then there was Victoria Hammond, the cushy COO, with diamond cufflinks and an icy smile that could freeze fire. A janitor. Please. She laughed at the mere thought. You think this man can help anything more than a toilet, Diana? You can't be serious. I saw the way her voice dripped with disdain, how she confidently wielded her privilege like a blade ready to cut down anyone who dared rise from their assigned place. Just give me a chance, I said, trying to keep my voice steady, calm. I know I can reach her. Diana hesitated, glancing at me briefly, her eyes searching for conviction. But can we risk bringing someone like him into our home? Victoria stood there, a shark in a tailored suit, ready to pounce on any weakness. As I stepped into that critical role, my heart raced with a mix of determination and a gnawing doubt. I saw small victories, moments of laughter and connection with Sophia, but every time I felt the warmth of hope, Victoria was right there, whispering poison into Diana's ear. Each little setback she orchestrated chipped away at my dignity. And then the calls came. Victoria's whispers took root. Marcus has a criminal past. Are you sure he's safe? I could hardly breathe. With every lie, every slight intended to undermine me, it felt like the ground shifting beneath my feet. a betrayal wrapped in silk and privilege flawlessly executed. Yet even as the walls began to close in my resolve, only tightened. I was not going to play the victim in someone else's game. I would rise. Each day I documented everything, every kind word from Sophia, every sneer from Victoria, as if to say, you may try to bury me, but you're only digging your own grave. You know, it's funny how life has this hilarious way of piling on the pressure. Right when you think you're making progress, just as Marcus began to connect with Sophia, that little spark of hope he ignited came crashing down like a poorly made Jenga tower thanks to Victoria. She was like that persistent mosquito buzzing around your head at night, annoying and relentless. Each day it was a new obstacle. Bit by bit, she was working her social magic, weaving a web of whispers that transformed him in the eyes of Diana from a promising mentor to a potential menace. Did you hear? He's just a janitor. I heard he has a shady past. Cue eye roll. Honestly, as if being a janitor was a crime, right? Marcus was there fighting for a child's heart, while the elite were playing a ridiculous game of let's see who can hold the most prejudice. And there was Marcus feeling his heart sink deeper each time another rumour cropped up like a bad comedian bombing on stage. He'd write his progress down, document everything, because hey, if anyone was going to give his well-deserved redemption, a fighting chance, it had to be him. He had moments, tiny glimmers, where he could almost taste victory. Sophia laughed at one of his terrible dad jokes, and for a brief moment the storm outside felt a little less intense. But then the reality hit. Diana was calling him in distress, and there it was, the seed of doubt planted right in the middle of all his hard work. In that moment, frustration surged through him, and with it a spark. Maybe he didn't have the accolades of the elite, but he had something they didn't real understanding grit and a genuine desire to help Sophia climb out of her own storm. So he tightened his grip on the pen, determined to rewrite his narrative one fearless truth at a time. Because in this game of chess, it was time for Marcus to maneuver like a king. Everything felt heavy, the walls closing in. Marcus stared at the skyline, that glittering city where dreams were forged and shattered. Rejection clung to him like a shadow. How many doors had been slammed in his face, yet it was more than just a job that hung in the balance. It was Sophia, the girl whose eyes mirrored his own despair. A wave of doubt crashed over him. Was he enough? Then came the call. Diana on the other end, fraught with uncertainty. Victoria's whispers echoing in her mind, thickening the air between them. Marcus, I need to be sure. But beneath that uncertainty, a flicker ignited. He couldn't back down now, not when hope was tugging at his heart. In the silence that followed, a realization unfurled. This was his chance, his moment. He'd been a janitor, yes, but he was also a fighter. Taking a deep breath, he replayed the faces, the stories, his mother's sacrifices, the weight of the world pressing against him. And in that moment, he decided he wouldn't be a victim of their whispers any longer. The dinner, an opportunity to turn the tide. He would share his truth, his betrayal, his rise from the ashes. What was it they called him? A janitor disparaged him as beneath them. No more. There was power in his story. He could feel the heat rising within him, igniting his spirit. Glimmers of a fierce determination began to pulse through his veins. This was not just a chance for him, but for every voice silenced by the powerful few. In that space between despair and action, he found strength, the kind that wrapped around his heart and squeezed out fear. Marcus Thompson wasn't just showing up as a janitor. He was stepping into his destiny. The world would see him. As the sun dipped behind the skyline, its golden rays bouncing off the glass of the Westbrook high-rise, Marcus Thompson adjusted his crisp suit and stepped into the bustling rooftop dinner. The intricate catering spread showcased culinary artistry. But tonight, the centerpiece was not the food, it was Marcus himself. He felt the weight of eyes upon him, but this time their stares held curiosity rather than contempt. "Thank you all for coming," he began, his voice steady, each word a deliberate foundation for the truth he was about to unveil. In front of him, the tension sparkled like the city lights just beyond the terrace, and behind him floated whispers of doubt he'd faced for too long. This was his moment, his chance to reveal that he was more than a janitor. He was a qualified expert who had devoted his life to helping children, one breakthrough at a time. He laid down the meticulous documentation, the emails, the corroborating testimonials, all meticulously compiled, evidence of the campaign of sabotage waged against him. As he spoke, the guests shifted uncomfortably, their polished facades cracking under the weight of their misconceptions. The air thickened with discomfort as he showcased video footage of Dr. Carmen Martinez, a well-respected child psychologist, reiterating Marcus's credentials, the very qualifications that they had dismissed. And there it was, the dawning realization on Diana's face, as she grasped the gravity of what had been hidden from her all along. The very elite who had condemned him bore expressions of shock and disbelief. Their social hierarchy was suddenly in disarray. "True strength," Marcus said, a quiet smirk crossing his lips, is often found in the places people overlook. In that moment, victory flowed through him, not the flashy triumph of a conqueror, but the profound satisfaction of a survivor. As the night drew on, a palpable shift occurred. Witnessing the women who had plotted against him forced to confront their folly became a silent victory, one that didn't erase the scars of betrayal he carried, but turned them into something worthy. The Marcus Thompson Center for Advanced Child Therapy was born not just from his success, but from the very struggles that had shaped him. The weight of his journey hung in the air, a reminder that while scars may fade, they also tell a powerful story. As we wrap up the remarkable journey of Marcus Thompson, from a janitor grappling with societal injustice to a titan of compassion and change, it's clear that this story transcends the individual. Marcus discovered something powerful through his trials. Trust is a fragile currency in a world steeped in prejudice and deception. He learned that real power doesn't stem from wealth or status, but from the courage to stand firm against the tide of betrayal, even when it would be easier to fight back with revenge. Each confrontation he endured could have driven him to revenge, yet he chose a path of integrity, transforming setbacks into stepping stones. Was his decision to rise above personal vendettas truly the noblest choice? This brings us to a provocative question. Does seeking revenge ever bring the justice we crave, or does it only prolong our suffering and taint our victories? The opinions on this moral quandary are sure to ignite fierce debates. Marcus's story stands as a testament to resilience, yet also a thought-provoking reminder that sometimes the biggest battles we win are against our darker impulses. In the end, the question remains: can we too wield our struggles as tools for constructive change, rather than weapons for retaliation? We invite you to share your thoughts on this complex issue when confronted with betrayal. Do you believe justice is found in revenge or in rising above it? Join the conversation below, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that confront the very essence of suffering and triumph. The journey continues, and so does the dialogue.